Right. First things first, without getting into the subject, I can't work out how to consistently get the phone to record landscape mode. When the rotation's on, whether it's off, if it's that way, but honestly, it's driving me nuts because I do it, try and do the same. I did it once, I try and do the same as that, and it did it different. So, I don't know. Maybe it's because I recorded that video first on the normal camera, and then I don't know. Anyway, I'm not quite sure when that was. I did the first one. Now it's been a while, and yeah. Anyway, on to that. Yeah, when that was. That's interesting. Because this is something that's been bugging me for a while, and it's just so annoying, isn't it? That's why that you'll kick yourself saying comes in when something is just literally right under your nose that's so important and life-changing, or just awesome, really, and it's right there the whole time, and you had just never noticed, and then you go, oh, fucking hell, when you get told or you find out, or like a revelation, well, under your nose or above it, even. That's what I'm going to get into now, is the natural calendar clock given to us, basically. And this is how now I've never been a religious person. I mean, have you got the charger cable there? I grew up just testing. I grew up with my mom basically being into she was never religious, but she was very interested in Hindu gods and that sort of lifestyle, their traditions and their customs, and paganism, and the Green Man and Pan and all this sort of stuff. So she's a real earth person. So yeah, when it comes to sending us to C of E schools when we were kids, she wasn't too keen at all, and she really didn't like it when the Jehovah's Witnesses would come around and Bible bashers, and she'd be fairly hostile sometimes when they wouldn't leave. So yeah, I've not grown up religious like that, really, and I have gone to religious schools, and it was just because I was young, because I wasn't religious at home, I would disrespect the prayers, the assemblies, the church services, everything. I would just completely boo-hoo the whole fucking lot, and or just try and ruin it a lot of the time, disrupt it, and when songs like "Give God the Glory," and because the football was on in 1990, it was "Give Gaza Glory" instead, as loud as you can, to piss the teachers off, who are God-fearing, born-again Christians, basically. So that's anyway, that's a bit of background in, so I'll tell you that first before I now say what I'm saying, because otherwise you might, think I'm some religious nutcase. But yeah, basically, this is all now to do with the natural calendar that I've noticed, that seems to have been given to us. It's by some sort of intelligent design, because if this hasn't, then I don't know, it'd be just a bit too spooky. But yeah, people have debated for a long time, what the sun is, where it came from, what the moon is, where it came from, what they call them, luminaries, the luminaries, and anything astrological, is, and astronomy and astrology comes into it, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal, whether you're religious or not, really. I mean, everyone's got a star sign, everyone's aware of that star sign. Everyone's got a birthday, everyone's aware of the seasons. Everyone's aware of days, minutes, months, hours, years. But are they aware of ages? You have astrological ages as well. I mean, we're in the age of Pisces crossing over to the age of Aquarius. I'm pretty sure you're all aware of that, right? But what tells you that? How do we know that? See, we're told, aren't we, really, that it was just kind of devised up because they gazed at the stars for ages and studied the moon moving and the sun moving. Yeah, the moon moving and the sun moving. I did just say that, not us going around. Anyway, forget that for a second. They watched the luminaries move, and the stars and the wandering stars, now known as planets. Okay, and they studied them for a long time and saw patterns. So they wrote it down and built what we know as the calendars from it. So you got like Mayan, you got Gregorian. There's a few different ones. I won't get into all the different ones and the names. But anyway, calendar systems have been devised over human existence. And yeah, what's the point? Well, the point is to know where you are, right? We also now have something called GPS and maps, right? And that's really interesting because if you look back in time and you find old maps, I'm fascinated by them personally. I think they're great because sometimes it's funny and it's like amazing to see just what they thought and how. What am I saying? What am I saying? How wrong they were? How the fuck do we know that? We basically buy any map, new map presented to us, right? And we just go, yeah, it must be. Right? Yes, you do, right? And like Google Earth, how many of you use Google Earth, right? Yeah, or have looked at it? Everyone, pretty much, has got a smartphone, right? Yeah, well, it's run by Google for starters, so always be a little skeptical there. But yeah, it starts off, doesn't it? Google Earth, when you open the app and you've got the Earth, the big globe right in front of you. That's just not a photograph whatsoever. That's blatantly just a CGI image, and you can spin it round and do all that sort of stuff. That is just and you then zoom in, don't you? And you zoom in, two fingers, you zoom in, and you find your house, right? Yeah, first you find your country, then you find your house, and you look all over it, and then you got a mate in Australia, so you look at him upside down. Right. You don't do you just zoom in and you see it like bird's eye view, like some drone, basically, going in, right? Some computer-generated drone. Did you know, right, it's not even disclosed, and I find this actually illegal. You know what, Monday, I might look into getting a solicitor, right, it'd be a tough case, won't it, against Google, to actually fucking sue them, right, yeah, for not admitting in any of the small bit, and if it is there and I've missed it, because I couldn't find it for shit, right, yeah, then please tell me where this information is, this disclosure is on Google Earth that says, until it gets to Street View, and even then it's edited, but until it gets to Street View, it is all computer generated. And it is. Do not think, right, for a second, yeah, and if I'm wrong, then I know I'm not wrong, because those, when you zoom in to find your house, right, and you see it from above, that's not a photo, a genuine photo, right? A drone has photographed the land from above. It has, right? But then it's been put into some editing software and it's been, filtered and edited, right? Because for starters, if it's a globe, right, wouldn't the buildings be like, if you zoom out enough, be pointing away from each other? Like, you know what I mean? You've got like the curvature of the Earth, right? And you've got in the middle, the bit you're looking at, center of the screen, you've got a building, and that will become straight upright. Okay, let's say you've got a city like, say, New York or something, right? And you've got like skyscrapers for miles, right? If you zoom out enough, wouldn't you see the skyscrapers on the edges of the screen pointing away? Yeah, like this. Yeah. I'll try and do it. I'll try and do it on the screen. So here we go. Look, there's your house in the middle, right? And then give me a block. Give me a little block of some description. That black block's there. That'll do. Got my assistant here. He's got a black. Right. Okay. So basically, here we go. Look, Google Earth. Oh, look, I found my house. Right now, let's turn around this way. Right. Yeah, so basically, like that. Yeah. Right. There's your house. Skyscraper. Now it goes dink, 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 dink. Right. Like that. Wouldn't they be going like that on the curvature of the Earth? Until the one right on the edge in some other country is, we've started in Europe, we've gone further than that now. Wouldn't it be pointing outwards on the ball? Yeah, because the person standing next to that one would have to be standing upright, right? Something like building's upright. Do you get me? You following me so far? So look, we'll come back in, look, right on the edge there, and you go, my house, look, totally just seeing the roof. But Google Earth doesn't do this. right? Yeah, and it should. So basically, yeah, they've just what they've done is they've taken aerial photographs. This is what I think. Yeah, they've taken aerial photographs from drones, and they have just computer generated it all, like photoshopped it all, right? And then when you zoom right in far enough, you then go to Street View, and then it's done. Those cars are driven around, taking loads of photos, and they got a 360-degree camera bolts at the top of them, so they can piece all the bits together, like apparently they do with photos of Earth. And that's what I mean. They say it's compiled of lots of strips from a satellite. Yeah, same as a drone, lots of strips from a drone or whatever. Anyway. Okay, right. So basically, maps. That's what I was talking about there. Right, maps. We buy this. I mean, like, nearly everyone believes, well, or thinks the opposite of what I just said. They think that every time you look at Google Earth, it's a true map, and it's that. So, yeah, for us to laugh at ancient maps that apparently got the country so wrong, or didn't know about other continents, and the shapes are off and the distances are off, I think that's a little bit stupid, personally, because we are not looking at one that's accurate anyway, in my opinion. So how can we laugh at theirs not being accurate if we're not going to laugh at ours for not being accurate? Okay, I think that's a pretty fair thing to say, isn't it? Really. Yeah, so anyway, maps and calendars. Now, they are totally linked together, because let's forget, or just put aside technology. Okay, let's put aside drones. Let's put, the news, everything. Let's put it aside. Let's just imagine, right? You're a very, very intelligent, mutated orangutan, for example, right? You don't have an iPhone. You don't even know what it is, right? I should hope not, anyway. And that'd be horrible. The day I see an orangutan with an iPhone, I think I'll kill myself. But let's say, you're a human living like an orangutan, okay? You're a tribal person, let's say, right? Yeah, and you don't have anything to do with the so-called civilized society. You don't have anything to do with technology, okay? You live like we would say, and they have been said before, horrible savages or animals, yeah? How can you use animal as an insulting term? How can anybody put someone down for not being apparently advanced or schooled by saying they're an animal? I mean, what's so bad about a fucking animal, for starters? You shouldn't be using animal as an insult, and it's just ignorance and just ridiculous stuff that humans do. So anyway, yeah, let's imagine you're a tribal person and you want to know what time it is. Well, how do you know what time it was? The sun, right? Yeah, like in Crocodile Dundee. The Aborigines, right? His mate uses the sun, and Paul Hogan, Mick Dundee, he cheats and pretends he knows the sun as well to impress that bird. He's trying to fuck that bird, and so he's like pretending he's like all these amazing, tribal old school qualities of reading the time of the sun. Really, he's got a watch or something hidden in his pocket. But anyway, right? You're a tribal person. You want to know what time it is, right? So you use the sun. Okay, cool. Now, how do you know then? That's cool. So you know what time it is of a day. So then, how do you know what day you're on in the week or the month? The moon, right? So the phases of the moon determine where you are in the month, the moons, right? Okay, clues in the title. And Monday, moon day, right, is the first day of the week. Sunday, well, some people say Sunday's the first day. Some people say that Monday's the first day. I don't know. Are we going to start with the sun? Or are we going to start with the moon? I personally would start Monday as the first day myself. I'd see Sunday as the last day of the week, as the end of the weekend, right? Anyway, right? So, the sun tells you the hours, where you are in the day. The moon tells you what day you're on in the month, the moons. And the seasons tell you where you are in the year. Right? Now, how do you know? No, the season, this is interesting, right? Because it's not actually, how do you see the, I mean, you can see the season around you, like whether it's cold, whether it's whatever, but you're not going to, unless you've been counting, you've been following and writing down what week you're in and whatever to know where you are, there's another way you know. Okay? And that is by the stars. Alright? Now, the stars aren't available in the day. Now, why is that? Because the sun is really bright and it's a lot closer than the stars, because apparently the stars are little suns distantly away. I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, whatever the stars are, where they are, because they have patterns, don't they? We call them constellations, right? Fixed patterns. They don't move from those patterns. However, they do move around us. And Polaris, the bright star, the North, seems to be the very centre. It is, isn't it? Right over the North Pole. We're told, yeah. Okay, right. So they all rotate around Polaris, or they say the Earth rotates on the axis, and it just so happens to have the North Pole above it, and the Earth spins round. Well, potato for now, okay? We, from down here, if you're a tribal person, you're walking along and you go, what time is it now? Look up at the sun. Ah, it's 2 o'clock, right? Okay, cool. And how long the sun's in the sky for, right, of that day, how long it's up there for, right, tells you you're in the summer, really, if it's up there for a long time. If it's not, a short time tells you you're in the winter, right? But to accurately know that, you have to follow the moon, and then to accurately know, on top of that, you have to then look up at where the constellations are. So you have to know this. You have to know when Orion's belt is there, and the moon is there, like half moon, Orion's belt there, right, yeah, then you will know that you are, say, halfway through the month, right, in November time. You'd know that if you knew where the constellations were in conjunction to where the sun rises, etc., etc., etc. in the year. You'd know. You'd have a fixed point. And this is what Stonehenge and stuff were about, because they knew that when they built Stonehenge, like Thoth or whatever built Stonehenge, Enki, whatever built Stonehenge, as big, like sundials, as big clocks, as big calendars, because they would know when the sun rose above the wherever it was, that stone, and blah blah blah, when the constellation was over there, and the stones fixed into the ground were the points of reference. Okay, so you could tell. There we go. You got sun for the hours, you got the moon for the months, and you got the constellations for the way you are in the year. Right? Yeah. Happy with that? Cool. And then nighttime comes. Now there's no sun to tell you the time, right? And also in the day when the sun's up, you'd be able to just see, so you could, your map would be done, in conjunction to where the sun is and whatever, and you the trees, the landmarks and stuff like that. You'd be able to make a mental map, wouldn't you, of reference as to where you are and where you wanted to go and whatever, right? Okay, yeah, you better do that. But when it's nighttime and it's dark, and let's say it's a new moon, so therefore it's fucking dark, right? Now bear in mind, back in the day when this seems to have been created, there was no light pollution from cities and skyscrapers and cars and fucking buildings and shit like that, right? So you'd be able to see a very clear night sky a lot of the time, right? And you'd be able to see the constellations very clearly. So it would kind of work like a GPS system where you'd be able to know, if you studied this, do you know what I mean? This probably was taught in mystery school, in normal school, I should imagine, that when it's this time of the year and you knew because the sun had been up for a certain amount of time and the moon had gone there, you knew where you were in the month, and then you come to night time and you'd be walking along thinking, right, I've been fishing, in night fishing, and I want to go home, and before sunrise, it's 3 a.m. You'd be able to know whether, follow in conjunction with where those constellations are, your way home. Right, so that works as a massive map. Yeah? Are you following me on this? Right, okay, cool. So, there we have it. So if anyone now wants to sort of say why, or ask why, and what are the stars, what exactly is the sun, what is, it's quite simply giant GPS / clock / calendar, isn't it? Really? And then if you go to the Bible, which I used to boo-hoo forever, but now I'm a little bit more open-minded, and I think, well, a lot of it's done in allegory, a lot of it's edited, a lot of it's done, there's the old history written by the winners shit, but there is, I think, bits of truth in it, and there's going to be, because it was compiled and edited off of a series of lots and lots of documents or knowledge, of stargazing and studying, to do just what I was explaining, I believe. And there's a part where, in Genesis, in the very first page, where God creates the heavens and the earth, blah, blah, blah. He creates the firmament, blah, blah, blah. That's interesting. He said the firmament, yeah. He says he puts the stars in the firmament, the sun and the moon, in the luminaries, the two great lights. Okay, that's obviously the sun and the moon. And then the smaller lights in the firmament. Not in outer space, billions of miles away, there's little suns with their own galaxies that we're told, and own planets. And that is ridiculous, because modern day science tells us that, and then it tells us that the Earth is spinning at this, and then it says that going around the sun at ridiculous miles an hour on its axis, then ridiculous miles an hour around the sun, and then apparently the whole fucking thing is our whole galaxy is twisting and firing through the infinite universe apparently as well. How the fucking hell we manage to see the same constellations every night for millennia is pretty amazing, unless the whole fucking thing is moving like that. I mean, all right. But I think it's just much more logical to say, like we always have thought before this 500 years of craziness, that we're in the middle, Polaris is above, and everything rotates around us, and it's a lot bloody closer than we're told, because it's in the fucking firmament, just like it says in there. It's a big fucking dome, probably blue, made of something like, tribes have these rocks that fall from the sky, and it's been documented, and they pick them up, and the tribal people call them sky stone or whatever, stones from the sky, and they're blue. Not much in nature is blue, but the sky's blue and the water, the ocean's blue. And that's interesting, because you go and get a white bucket and scoop up a bit of ocean, it ain't blue. It's probably brown of all the fucking pollution. But before there was pollution, it isn't blue, it's clear. And the sky, you can gather up as much gas as you want of the sky, it ain't blue. So what the fuck is making it blue? My guess is the firmament. Now, I went from explaining how I'm not religious to the end. You probably think he's a religious God-fearing nut now because he's believing about the firmament and Genesis and whatever. I don't care. I just think there's a lot of sense in that, and it seems to be intelligent design that the two great lights are made so we can see what the fuck we're doing, and so can the animals in day and night. And when it's not there, you've got the stars to show us where you are, and yeah. And the stars probably did give us a bit of light actually in the night before there was light pollution, and the moon was at new moon, and the sun had gone down 3 a.m. new moon. I reckon the stars probably would give off enough light for you to roughly see what you were doing, so it wasn't hand in front of the face black, Anyway, that's what I think it's all for, and let me know what you think.